And welcome to Tackle the Board. My name is Chris Exusion. You can find me at Chris Ebom on Twitter, and my co-host Russ Reese, the Vegas line reader. How we doing today, Russ?
I'm actually feeling good. I had some big plays last weekend and had a good weekend. I think I went 4-2 with college and football and all my big plays. So I saw you also did really well. You went 5-1, I think you said.
Yeah, so I went 5-1. I went 2-1 in college football. The Boise game kind of left away a little bit for the most part, but my two main plays both hit. And then NFL. I've been on an awesome NFL heater. I went 3-0 last week. I had the Aaron Rodgers prop for the over touchdowns, which was a no problem bet for the most part. The yards was more of an issue because of that run game. But we had two dogs, Panthers, won outright, and then we had Titans win outright. And that game, honestly, I don't know. Still don't know how they won that game, but I love the points, and it just worked out. So yeah, overall, I've been locked in on NFL.
We both had the Titans. I saw my phone blowing up on those Titans. I thought you threw the phone and broke it or something. I was like, no. We're coming back here.
Exactly. But let's get this party started. Let's get on the right track for DFS because we'll get you guys on the right track for betting. And without further ado, let's get our guy on here. Anthony Servino. Anthony, how are we doing today?
What's going on, guys? How are you?
Doing good. There's that Cowboys jersey we were talking about.
Yes, different one. CD Lamb. It's the one that I got it for free from Caesars.
What?
Yeah, that sounds about right. You got it for free.
Well, the Caesars sports book. If you bet $100 worth of NFL games between like week 1 and September 30th, they send you a $150 gift card.
Oh, wow.
Beautiful. Can't beat that, man. And I feel pretty good.
Do you work for Caesars?
No.
All right, let's jump into fantasy football.
Yeah, let's do this. So I'm already looking at the QB position. There's a guy that I'm looking at that I think is going to be a pretty good sleeper. I don't know if he might be a good sleeper. We'll see. But Danny Dimes, I'm kind of digging him this week. What are your thoughts, Anthony?
I'm in on Daniel Jones in week 3. We've seen back-to-back games now where he's been extremely fantasy relevant. And, coming up, what does he get? He's getting the Falcons. And look what Jalen Hurts did to the Falcons in week 1. He's a dual-threat quarterback, and obviously Tom Brady tore the Atlanta Falcons up. And Danny Dimes is another dual-threat quarterback, went for over 90 yards rushing. Last week, back-to-back weeks with a rushing touchdown, so that rushing floor helps all fantasy quarterbacks out, and the Atlanta Falcons are a mess. This could be another big week for Daniel Jones, and he should be in GPP lineups for sure.
I see Shepard's down there. He's at 5,900 in DraftKings. Do you think you would put him in with him?
Yeah, that Danny Dimes and Sterling Shepard stack works. And even though the Giants signed Kenny Golladay to a big deal in free agency, Sterling Shepard's the #1 target for Daniel Jones, leads the team in targets. And Golladay had 8 targets last week, did absolutely nothing with them. I don't know if he's banged up, not acclimated with the offense, not acclimated with Daniel Jones. Now, can you be a little bit sneaky and put Kenny Golladay in if you play a lot of lineups? Yeah, sure. Why not? Because if he's going to go off against anybody, it's the Atlanta Falcons and that atrocious defense. But the safer play is Sterling Shepard.
So I got a question. I got a question from one of the viewers here, Mitch Flatt. It says, Matthew Stafford, are we playing him or fading him this week in DFS?
And the Rams are playing. Let me pull this up.
They're playing the Bucs.
The Bucs, yeah.
You got to put them in. And the Tampa Bay defense, as good as they are up front, their secondary is a mess. Dak Prescott tore them up. Matt Ryan threw for a couple of scores and right around 300 yards last week. They picked him off a few times, but fantasy-wise, another good game. And this is a projected shootout. Tampa Bay's offense looks unstoppable. I think this is going to be a shootout. If not, Tampa Bay gets out to an early lead, and they're playing catch-up on the Rams end. Darrell Henderson's a little bit banged up, so I know Sony Michel is there, but Darrell Henderson's really the RB1 on that team. So we're going to see a lot more passing than usual, I think, out of Matthew Stafford. Cooper Kupp's been absolutely terrific this season. He's taken over as the #1 wide receiver on that team over Robert Woods. So that Cooper Kupp and Matthew Stafford stock's going to work as well. And you could probably throw Tyler Higbee in.
Yeah, I want to give you some props. Last week, you hit your sleeper on Jamar Chase. I saw he had a touchdown last week, so that was a good pick.
And he's still cheap.
Yeah. Did he still do well? Did he get a lot of points last week?
I think he finished right around 12 or 13 points, but he only had 3 targets with that touchdown. But the other two Cincy receivers are more expensive, and the leader was T. Higgins. He had about 2 more points, and Tyler Boyd had 1 more point. So if you went Jamar Chase at his price point, it was actually the better value.
Nice. Who should we be eyeing up on the actual Browns? Because I see both Landry's out, and then we got Odell still out. I was curious who the guys getting the targets now.
Donovan Peoples-Jones, he could be the number 1 wide receiver there. There's also, I believe his last name is Schwartz, the rookie, Anthony Schwartz. I think I'm getting his name right. He's a little bit banged up, but he should see an expanded role. But that Cleveland Browns passing attack, I don't trust it. Austin Hooper maybe can be in some lineups, but they should be running the ball a lot with Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. And Kareem Hunt, more than ever this week with all the injuries to pass catchers, he could be a little bit more busy as a pass catcher himself.
Yeah, maybe the 2 tight ends are getting some action, Joku and Hooper. Yeah, who knows if they're getting targets too. Do you have any guys that you're eyeing up as some sleepers at running back or wide receiver this week?
The big value play, he's not a sleeper, but because of his slow start to the year, we talked a little bit about the Rams, and Robert Woods is only 5,700 at DraftKings right now. Normally, he's one of the higher price guys, but because Cooper Kupp is on a tear and Robert Woods isn't exactly getting a ton of targets, he's becoming a value. And again, I love the matchup against this Tampa Bay secondary. This is going to be a get-right game for Robert Woods because the more owned player in DFS is probably going to be Cooper Kupp. So again, if you're trying to crack a GPP tournament, you kind of want to go for the sleeper value plays who you think could have a big game.
Yeah, because that's what I was talking about last week with Kupp. He was so low. I mean, I was looking at FanDuel, but 6,200 on FanDuel was ridiculous. I couldn't believe that last week. So he's been catching a ton of touchdowns these past couple of weeks. I could see Woods getting some action because I saw Kupp sneaking in there, getting some easy, wide open looks. I don't know how they left them wide open like that in one of the plays. So Woods definitely looked a little disappointed, like he wasn't getting any touches.
Now, the Rams, they have played Tampa Bay in each of the 2 past seasons. Obviously, the more important one is last year because that's the closest Bucs team to this one. Robert Woods went 12 for $130 and 1 last season. And even 2 years ago in 2019, 13 for $164. Wow,
that's good to know.
So as far as your Schwartz play right there, he's only worth 3,200 on DraftKings. That's dirt cheap. That's a really good spot for a guy. That's a guy I kind of like. If I'm stacking a lineup, I could throw him in there for a good bang or bust kind of deal. I like that as well. But the big question that I need to know, I have him on my fantasy team, is Kyle Pitts finally going to do something this week?
I mean, Kyle Pitts had a decent week last week. And I think the more acclimated he gets, now we're going into week 3, he's getting the Giants, and the Giants give up some production at tight ends. I think this is a week where Kyle Pitts gets into the end zone. But last week, his PPR outing wasn't bad. What do you have, about 5 catches?
He had 5 catches last game, 6 targets, not bad at all. So, yeah, he is on the uptick as far as the points are going. I'm just looking – I know the talent's there with Pitts. Like, he's just a freak, and – it's a matter of Matt Ryan getting that ball to him. I know that Ridley had this one out that I saw, and then like he threw it out of bounds, and he's like, "Are you serious? Like, what are you doing, Matty Ice?" Like, I think they're getting a little frustrated with him out there.
Oh, Matt, I think Atlanta made the wrong move getting rid of Julio Jones and not Matt Ryan because they needed to clear cap up. They had about half of their cap tied up into, I think it was Matt Ryan, Julio Jones, and one of their interior defensive linemen, I think Grady Jarrett. And they're starting to clear some cap room up. Julio was the first to go. Matt Ryan should be next, especially last year when Atlanta, they were sitting, when they picked Kyle Pitts, they could have had one of these young quarterbacks.
Yeah, exactly. I'm looking at Javonte Williams. What's his story? Is he someone that we're going to wait on to put him in your lineups later in the season?
Yeah, I love Javonte Williams coming out. They traded up to get him in Denver. Melvin Gordon's in a contract year. So it's only a matter of time before Javonte Williams takes over. But in the first 2 games, Javonte is getting the carries. Him and Melvin Gordon are splitting the work. And last week, I was all in a Javonte Williams going against Jacksonville because in week 1, Jacksonville gave up a rushing touchdown to all 3 Texans running backs. And the Texans are a bad team. I figure, okay, well, Denver's going to control this game. They're going to be running a lot. Both of those running backs, Melvin Gordon, Javonte Williams, didn't really do much. So now I'm in a spot. They get the New York Jets. Now, this could be a Javonte Williams game, but I'm going to pump the brakes and look elsewhere until I see him do it first.
And with tight ends, would you say, like, would you have to throw in Kelsey, Waller, one of these guys? Because I don't know how well, I guess Hawkinson's another guy, but it doesn't seem like there's not one of these tight ends are like really showing up. I guess Logan Thomas, I don't know if you got your eye on him, but it just seems like tight ends is very hard to find somebody.
If you want to pay up now, compared to Travis Kelce, who's at 8,200, Hawkinson's a value at 52, but that's still a very high price for a tight end. If you want to go a little bit cheaper, Kyle Pitts at 4,900. We also have Gerald Everett going against the Minnesota Vikings at 3,000. He's only had 2 targets in each of the first 2 games, but he did score in week 1. We know Seattle's still trying to figure out who the number 3 receiver is. Everett followed Shane Waldron, the offensive coordinator from the Rams. So there's a lot of good things happening for Gerald Everett. It's just a matter of when is it going to happen for him. So if you want to go to the value play, Everett. Otherwise, I would either look at Kelsey, Hawkinson, or Kyle Pitts. And they're all, again, Kelsey at 82 if you want to spend up. If you want to go a little bit cheaper, TJ Hawkinson at 52 going against Baltimore, then Kyle Pitts at 49, which I think is a pretty good value going up against New York Giants.
Yeah, I was just scrolling down, messing around, and I'm looking at Clyde Edwards-Hilaire's at 4,800. This guy's a first pick.
Keep him there.
Yeah, okay. But you got to see he's next to McNichols and Sonny Michel. Like, you got to think he's gonna have a big game, possibly. I don't know.
He's a one-dimensional back, and Andy Reid was trying to replicate Brian Westbrook. If you look at the skill set of Clyde Edwards-Helaire, but Brian Westbrook was as an excellent runner, and I don't think Clyde Edwards-Helaire is a very good runner. He's good in open space, good in the passing game, but when you have Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill, you cannot target Clyde Edwards-Helaire like he's Christian McCaffrey. And we saw it last week against Baltimore when they tried running the ball with CEH in a crucial late game situation. He got stuffed. I mean, we're going to see a lot more Darrell Williams in that backfield.
So I wanted to get into the quarterback situation one more time because it's kind of the glamorous position here. We got all these big names. Guys are going to be playing a lot of these big names. They're not going to be going down the well with a lot of these names. What is the QB the big name that just stay away from that we feel like that a lot of guys are going to take that they're going to get burned with this week?
So somebody that you think is going to bust out of the big names. Wow. Yes. I can tell you one that I like off the top of my head first. That's Lamar going up against the Detroit Lions. He should really tear them up. But as far as a quarterback, I'm possibly fading this week. Let me think. You kind of put me in a spot here.
That's all right. You know, I'm trying to avoid something for my room over here when I make a play.
Wow.
There's not really. We won't hold you to this one.
That's all right. We won't hold you to it. I can throw something out there. I wouldn't be surprised Josh Allen doesn't have a good game. You could look
at one of the wide receivers where you know a team's going to win big and they're not going to be throwing someone.
That's a good point as well.
Like that.
A team established with more of the run game.
You just don't know
who. I might shy away from Ryan Tannehill this week. Okay. And Tannehill hasn't been impressive. And he's not a high-priced player, but, he's kind of up there because of the weapons and the quarterback. I need to see him do it first. He's getting the Colts this week, and, this is a desperation spot for the Indianapolis Colts, and I think they're going to show up to play. So Tannehill is somebody I need to see him do it first, and he's been excellent since he's taken over for Marcus Mariota, but in the first 2 games, something seems off, and I think a big part of it is losing Arthur Smith, the offensive coordinator.
So I was talking with the Colts and everything. So you think Jonathan Taylor's going to be like one of the highest owned guys this week as far as the running back position goes?
He should be, but I think people might be scared off because he's off to a slow start. He's still getting the workload, but if you look at all the factors, the offensive line's getting healthier. Carson Wentz, even if he is playing, he sprained both of his ankles last week, just shed his walking boot, I believe, today. He was in a boot. He was in a boot.
No, I know. It sounded like he's like a snake and he's like shed his skin over there. I loved it. I love the analogy, though. I can't get enough of it, though. So we'll see.
You know, whether it's Wentz or Jacob Eason, there should be a ton of Jonathan Taylor this week going up against the Tennessee Titans, who do give up some production at running backs.
Mm-hmm. So before you go, you know how we always do: quarterback, running back, wide receiver. Who we got to have in our lineup this week?
Who do we have to have? Let's start with, and I'm going to give you all different price points. Kirk Cousins at 6,300. This right. Vikings defense, people thought that they would get a little bit better. They were atrocious last year. They also look bad again. I don't know what's going on with Mike Zimmer. I don't know if it's injuries or what, but it does not look good for that Vikings defense. They get the Seattle Seahawks. This is one of the highest point totals on the slate at 55.5 right now. So Kirk Cousins should be throwing a ton. At the running back position, let's stay in that game with Dalvin Cook. And, you know, if we want to stack Cousins and Cook, I think that's outstanding going up against Seattle. And what happened with Seattle last week? Derrick Henry ran the ball all over them. I believe Henry had like 30 plus or 40 fantasy points off the top of my head. And Dalvin Cook is that caliber of a rusher. He can beat you in between the tackles to the outside and as a receiver out of the backfield. I love the over in that game. There's going to be a ton of points. So stack Cousins and Dalvin Cook. Let's at tight end. I'm going to stick with Kyle Pitts at 4,900. I have a feeling this is a Kyle Pitts game. Week 1, he was disappointing. Last week, he had a little bit of a higher PPR floor. Getting the Giants this week, this might be the game where he puts it all together. And then at wide receiver at 6,400, we talked about him earlier. I'm putting Sterling Shepard in all of my lineups. The target leader right now in New York for the New York Giants. First 2 games, 16 catches, 207 yards and a touchdown. So, and it's the highest receiving yard total over a 2-game span in Sterling Shepard's career.
All right, beautiful, man. I appreciate it. Anthony, where can they find you?
You can follow me on Twitter at The Real NFL Guru and at my show at fffaceoff.com.
Well, thank you, Anthony, as always. I love the tidbit about Kirk Cousins. He was off my radar. I really like that. Sounds really sharp. And I appreciate it. Thanks for coming on.
No problem, guys. Good luck this week.
Thank you. Stuff. Thanks, man.
Yeah, I love that Kirk Cousins play because, I didn't even think about him, and I don't think he's going to be played a whole lot. And, you know, he's going to be down, and he's going to have to get a lot of yards and a lot of points and everything. That's a really good play. I'm definitely going to play Cousins, I think.
Yeah, that's what I've been saying about those guys, that they're turning into like a pass-happy team. Now, because he didn't have Thielen last year, so now he's got Jefferson and Thielen. They're just going to be passing the ball a lot more, I feel. I don't know. Because the defense, I don't know. I feel like they're not as stingy as they were, so I think they get into the pass game a lot more now. So,
no, I totally agree. I think we're right there with it. But without further ado, we're off the DFS train. Let's get right onto the NFL board. We have been hot in the NFL, crushing it. It's been awesome. If you guys aren't on the Discord, I don't know what you're doing. You know, go on my page, go on Russ's page. Get the free month. Try it out for yourself. I'm 5-0-1. It's been running really hot, but you know what? Hey, try it free of charge. If not, you know, then you're out of the loop because the plays come out later. But let's get into Thursday night, Russ. We got a weird matchup. Not gonna lie. Panthers Texans 8.5. I think it might even be around 8 right now. Texans getting 8, and the over under is at 43.5. Russ, what are we doing here?
Yeah, this thing will probably close at 8.5, something like that, because I don't see many people taking the Texans here. I got the Panthers here. Texans, they're one of the worst teams in NFL. Now Tyrod Taylor's out of the game, who's actually been impressing me. He's been playing well. I guess he's used to this new NFL where it's very easy to scramble and get points because these illegal contact penalties. So it's a quarterback league now, so it's very easy for teams to score points. But the Texans, they've been putting up a lot of points lately. I just feel like this is a game. They're facing a stingy, improved Panthers defense that's actually number 1 in sacks. They got 10 in the first 2 games. So I think that it's going to be consistent pressure on the Texans here. They got a backup quarterback coming in. I got a 24-13 type of score. Give me the Panthers here.
I'm on the opposite end. I'm taking Texans with the points. I really like what, as far as like a new quarterback coming in on Thursdays, my boy David Behrman, I got to shoot him out from ESPN. He brought up a really good stat for Thursday night over here. And it was, oh man, I even lost it right here. But it was talking about the first official starts for Thursday night football games. They cover a lot of times. They win outright. I don't think the Texans are going to personally win outright. I just think it's too many points. I think the Panthers just looked so good last week, and then they're kind of just hanging with the Jets the week before. I just think you're buying too high on the Panthers at this point. And I do like the over as well, over 43.5. Like you said, the Texans defense does give up a lot of points, but I think Mills puts up some points as well. I think they lose 20-26. I think it's close to a touchdown game, but I think it goes over. But I still think they cover 8.5. I think Mills does get a couple touchdowns. I think he gets 2 touchdowns. We'll see what happens. Cooks has been pretty awesome for him as well. He's been kind of the anchor for them on the wide receiver side. So give me the Texans plus 8.5, and I like the over 43.5. I think it's too low. I think Texans defense isn't that good enough to allow that to go under.
Wow, bashing the Panthers over there. Okay.
Well, I'm new week, new everything. You know me. Last week I was all about the Panthers. Mm-hmm. They were my favorite play by far. I absolutely loved them, but you know what? I don't keep these marriages long with these teams. Like I'm on to a new week, Russ. I gotta get the new fresh girl over here, and it's the Houston Texans.
Oh man.
So we're gonna get into the Bengals at the Steelers -3. The over/under is 43.5. Russ, where are we going?
Did you say it's at -3 now?
Steelers is at -3. Let me just double check.
No, I know the lines update, and but they were at 4, so the line's dropping.
Yeah,
so
it's dropped a little bit. We're at -3 now, 43.5.
Yep, jump on this line early then. Yep, I like the Bengals. It's probably because of all the Steelers injuries I was going to note. We got TJ Watt got hurt during the game. Joe Hayden's questionable. Devin Bush is questionable. 3 key guys on defense. Deontay Johnson, wide receiver, got hurt right at the end of the game. He's questionable. Yeah, and this team is they've been a team I've been fading all season. So this is a good spot, division game. Bengals actually played absolutely terrible and still somehow only lost by 3 points last week. Big Ben, he's just throwing conservative passes, short passes the whole time. So the Bengals defense should be able to hold the Steelers here. The Steelers just can't score enough points. So I see like a 21-20 type of game. Give me the Bengals.
Yeah, and I'm right there with you. I like the Bengals with the points. I like Burrow. I think he can keep them in this game, maybe even win this game outright. You talked about them all year. You weren't big on the Steelers. They had that great win against the Bills, and also the Steelers are 0-4 against the spread in their last 4 games as a home favorite. They haven't been playing well as a home favorite, and we were already down on the Steelers already, and they're kind of at their highest point. We don't want to buy them at high point. We're going to sell them high. And no problem. We'll get the points to the Bengals. I think they're live dog. I think they can win outright. Jamar Chase has been great, and I like Mixon as well. I think they're going to give them a little bit of problems on defense. Even though the defensive line has been pretty solid, that's been their bread and butter for the most part. But like you said, injuries have been caught up to the Steelers. And that pointless play they had at the end, he got hurt as well. So I'm right there with you. Bengals +3 all day.
Nice.
The next game we're going to get into is the Cardinals at the Jaguars. Jaguars are getting 7.5 points. The over-under is 51.5 for us.
I'm going to go with the over in this game. Cardinals, seems like a big number to me, which I don't trust the Cardinals on the road giving points since these first 2 games, they're not playing any defense at all. So I think the Cardinals should be able to get in the 30s easily with Kyler. But I think this is just a great spot where the Jaguars are going to get a bunch of garbage points, kind of like Goff in week 1. I think they're going to be down, but they can easily just put some points up. So I got a 34-26 type of game. I'm more on the over here.
All right, 34-26. Okay. Well, it's at 7.5. So We're right around that spot right there. I like the Cardinals. I think they're going to roll them, honestly, here. I think this is a great spot for them. I actually like the under 51.5. I don't think the Jags will be able to score enough points. I think, like you said, the Cardinals are going to be in that 30, 30-some range over there. But I think you're going to get a lot of running the ball. And I don't know. I think the fact that Lawrence is going to be in a shootout with Murray, I think it's going to be a lot of turnovers. I think he's going to force a lot of plays, and I think a lot of bad plays he's going to force, which will give more plays back to the Cardinals. And if they're up a lot, then they're just going to take it easy and run that ball and everything. The under is 6-0 when the Cardinals in their last 6 games as a road favorite. So we always know them as being a high-scoring offensive team, but as being a road favorite, they've been an under machine. So I'll be more than happy to take that under. But I honestly really like the Cardinals to cover this game.
Nice.
The next game, Ravens at Lions. The current line is Lions +9. The over-under is 49.5.
Yeah, I got the Ravens here. I can't back one of the worst teams. The Lions, they're coming off 2 straight games where they were down literally 17 points or more. With the final 2 minutes of the game, 2 straight games. So they're facing another top-tier team. It's just been rough. These guys are getting beat up playing top-caliber teams these past couple of weeks as well. So this could be a game where they just give up and get worn out, as they also did just play a night game, too, against the Packers. Ravens, they're coming off that big win, but I feel like they can easily just put up 30-some points in this game. So I feel like it'll be a 30-17 type of game. The Ravens defense hasn't been playing well, so I feel like this is a get-right kind of game for the defense to play better. So give me the Ravens, 30-17. I'll take the Ravens.
Yeah, I'm right there with you with the Ravens. I think the most important thing when it comes to the Ravens is they're 4-0 against the spread versus a team with a losing record. They beat up on these bad teams constantly. We know they're coming off a very emotional win, but I don't think that's a big deal because Lamar Jackson's been in the playoffs. Like, he's not just a new fresh-faced guy. Like, he's been there a little bit for the most part. So I think this can be business as usual. And we saw the Packers. They pretty much were doing what they wanted with the run game. The box score really doesn't show it, but when I was watching that game, Aaron Jones was getting yards, and whether he got stuffed at some points and stuff, the offense still clicked and everything. And I think the play action game with Andrews is going to be really good as well. And I think the most important thing about that game with the Lions and the Packers is that the Lions actually led the game in yards in that game. They had more yards than the Packers, and they lost by 18. That says a lot. I mean, that's a bad team. And I think the Ravens can take advantage of that run game, and I think they rout them. It's going to be a double-digit victory, and I'm right there with you, Russ.
Yeah, the Lions, one of their top corners. He's got a very long name. I'm not going to pronounce it, but he definitely got hurt in that game, which affected them. And the team just looks slow on defense. So if they couldn't stop Aaron Jones just out in the flat, they're not going to be able to stop Lamar Jackson getting around the corner and the edge. He should do whatever he wants in that game. So, yeah, definitely take the Ravens in that one.
All right. The next game we're going to, the Washington football team. I finally got it right. It took me about a couple years, but Washington football team at the Buffalo Bills. The Bills are laying 8 points. The over-under is at 46. Actually, now, I apologize. It's been updated. It's now 7.5 Bills. The over-under is at 45.5, Russ. What are we doing here?
Nice. You must have got that right this week. You only had 1 beer instead of 5 beers this week.
No, I had a few more on top of that, man. It's still a long week, but I'm officially locked. Well, hey, I can have as many beers as I want, man. I crushed it last week, so I know what I'm doing.
All right. I'm just messing with you. I got Washington. I got Washington plus 7.5 here. Buffalo last week, they won in a blowout 35-0. That was the one game. I was all over all the games, but I was on the Dolphins. That game was actually not as bad as it looked. I mean, Tua got knocked out. The Buffalo's offense just hasn't looked the same. Last year, they could do whatever they want, but I think teams are starting to figure out that offense. Josh Allen, 270 passing yards in week 1, and then last week, 179 passing yards. So not the MVP type of season this year. Washington's defense, I mean, I don't think they're as stout as everyone thought they were this year, but I still think they're good enough to play good enough defense in this game against Buffalo. So I could see kind of low scoring, 24-17 type of game. I think Buffalo wins, but Washington can keep this close.
Yeah, I totally agree with you here. I really like Washington here a lot. Their defense has been, what's driven them this entire year. The defensive line's been awesome. 4 sacks last week. Heineke actually had a solid day, thrown for 336 yards, 2 TDs. We were on the Giants all day for that game last week, but I'm more than happy to take Washington, even though I'm not a real big believer in Washington. I think this is the perfect spot for them. Buffalo, they're kind of, they were supposed to do really well week 1. They lost the Steelers outright. They had to make their statement game. They did against the Dolphins. Now they're kind of high and mighty again. I'm more than happy for them to, come play Washington. Not a big deal. Getting 7.5 points, no problem. Washington, they're 5-0 against the spread in their last 5 games, following a straight-up win. So they gain good momentum, especially with Rivera. After winning a game outright, he can build that team, get them going. I like Washington with the points here, and I like the under as well. I think if Washington's going to cover this game, it's got to be a low-scoring game, and I think it's going to be because I think that's how Ron Rivera wants it, and that's how he's going to dictate the game. So give me Washington plus the points and the under.
Yeah, it's very true. If Buffalo hits 30, we're not counting on Washington to hit here. So, but they're on. I just don't see Buffalo. They haven't been doing much. It definitely looks like it'll be a low-scoring game.
Yeah, absolutely. That's how I feel as well. Now we got the Los Angeles Chargers at the Kansas City Chiefs. The line is currently at, let's see here,
6.5 maybe.
We were at 6.5. Okay, 6.5. The over/under is at 55. So it's dropped down half a point. So 6.5 over/under 55. Russ, where are we going?
I got the Chargers here. They had a disappointing game last week. They only put up 17 points against the Cowboys, who have an average defense. I just feel like the Chargers will get right back on offense, and this should just be a shootout. I got a stat for the Chiefs. They're actually 1-11 their last 12 games against the spread. Yep. So everyone just sees that it's the Chiefs. You're scared to pick against them, but they're just not playing defense at all. I feel like the defense got worse this year from last year because they upgraded the offensive line, but the defense is just getting worse. So definitely like the Chargers here. Like I said, they scored 17 last week, and they only scored 20 the week before that. So they're averaging, like 18.5 points per game. This offense is much better than that. This is a game where they're going to put up big points. This is the similar feel to when the Chiefs played these past 2 games, just shootouts in the 30s. So give me the Chargers 30-27. The Chargers probably lose a close one, but get the cover here.
So what was that 1-11 stat again? I need to hear that one more time.
Yeah, 1-11 against the spread. This is including the playoffs, and that one against the spread win was actually in the playoffs against Buffalo. So would have to look back. Regular season wise, it's not looking good.
I think that's very alarming for the bettors in general because Kansas City's always kind of the sexy team to bet because Mahomes loves to sling it, and no one cares about defense. They just love the offense and let it be. The Chargers. Herbert's been on fire with the passing yards, but the points really haven't been there. I think that gets fixed finally. I think we're finally going to get those points with the Chargers. Chiefs came off an emotional loss. They've been all over the place. The defense has not helped at all. I'm with you, Russ. I like the Chargers plus 6.5. I love the over. The Chargers are 3-1-1 against the spread in their last 5 meetings against Kansas City. I think this is a good spot for the Chiefs. I think it's going to be, if it's going to be high scoring, we're covering this game. That's what it really comes down to. I think it's going to be like a 4-point game, give or take, back and forth action. It's going to be an awesome game to watch, but I think Herbert's going to really light these guys up, and he's going to go for 300 again. And I think he's going to get a couple more touchdowns than we think. This might be a good little spot to kind of play him for fantasy because maybe you're not thinking about him as much against KC. But I mean, if you want to play a player prop, I think the over 300 is going to be a lock. I have no problem with that. Give me the Los Angeles Superchargers 6.5, and I'll take that over at the same time.
No, and I just remember that last year. I remember when the season started, I was like, the Chiefs, they're winning about 60-70% of their games against the spread because the odds makers know what they're doing, and they know streaks always end. And now you see that they're 1-11 against the spread. So that's why I always tell people, can't always just ride those streaks. Everything turns right back around again.
No, absolutely. And I've talked about it. You've talked about it. The lines are the lines for the reason. I mean, these casinos don't get built on giving money away. So that's like the number one thing. I feel like college in general, I'm able to find really good spots with these lines because they look extra fishy. NFL's a little bit tougher because you get a lot of, sharp and square money that kind of evens out for the most part. So you might be able to find a couple spots with some numbers, but Kansas City is coming back to reality, and it's flipping around. Like you said, they were covering a lot. Now they're not covering a lot. So we're about at that 50% spot over there. But the defense has sucked. And they can't do anything on defense.
Catch on. They're a little scared to leave them at -7 now, -7.5 now with these Chiefs. I mean, people do those teasers taking the Chiefs at home.
Yeah, they might lose outright.
And they're just putting them at 6.5. So that shows you how much confidence the odds makers aren't worried about the Chiefs right now.
Yeah, that's a scary teaser. I would not tease the Chiefs right there because Chargers are more than a live dog. I don't care if they're going to Arrowhead. I don't care where they're going. With that team with Kansas City, they have more than a chance to win that game. And that would be a really scary teaser right there.
Yeah.
So the next game I want to get into, a game that I actually kind of liked, but it's kind of going haywire for me for the most part. Colts at Titans. Titans are at 5.5. The over-under is 48, Russ. What are we doing?
The Colts are a mess. I mean, they just keep getting hit with injuries. It must be contagious when Carson Wentz comes to your team. I mean, this is the only guy on earth, I think, that's ever had 2 sprained ankles at one time. I don't think I've ever met anyone that's had that before.
Yeah, I never heard of that in my life.
So this seems like a Titans team that isn't playing defense, but this will be a spot where everyone's been seeing that they haven't been playing defense. I think the last couple games that they played last year, the games all went over 51 points. This over-under is lower. It's at 48.5. So that's telling me this is definitely a Titans line to kind of just blow them out in this game. So I think they win by double digits. I mean, Easton will get possibly 17 points, but I see like a 27-17 type of game. The Titans control this more defensively and run the ball in this game.
Yeah, they want to get back to their bread and butter, running the game. Honestly, though, before this whole Wentz issue came out, I loved the 5.5 with the Colts. Not going to lie. I'm shocked Tennessee won that game being horribly coached, got completely bailed out by Derrick Henry, Tractor Cito, completely bailed out. And they won that game outright. I was just happy they were in that game. Once it went to overtime, I knew it was locked up because we had the 6.5 and the new rules with the extra point and everything. It was an automatic winner. So it was just icing on the cake afterwards. But now with this injury with Wentz, with both of his ankles being banged up and this and that, who knows if it's that bad? He might not even play. And you're getting a backup. I mean, I think he's probably going to play. I think he's just bitching and complaining, just to bitch and complain because that's what Carson Wentz does. But now I have to go with Titans -5.5, and I like the under 48. I think they're going to really slow things down. I don't think they're going to be able to do a whole lot on offense for the most part. I mean, Jonathan Taylor's going to get pretty much the workload, but I think they're going to prepare for that. I think Vrabel's going to prepare for that. So I really like the under this play. The spread in general, I'm not crazy about, but gun to my head, I'm taking the Titans -5.5 now because the Wentz situation is just a hot mess.
Yeah, the Colts have been known for their defense last year, and the defense just doesn't look the same to me. So I think that's an issue too for the Colts.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to the next game. We got the Chicago Bears at the Cleveland Browns -7. The over-under is 45.5 now.
Yeah, this is a game where I'm taking the under. I just look at the spread. I mean, looking at this team, I like the Browns to be better this year, the Bears to be worse. So I'm not going to force myself to take the Bears in this game. If I were to side with a side, it would be the Bears, but I'm sticking with the under here. The Browns, I see both teams just running the ball. We don't have any wide receivers here. Landry's out now. No Odell Beckham still. Baker, in this past couple of years, he has struggled against good defenses. So I just feel like they're going to be running the ball. Baker's not going to be doing whatever he wants. He's going to be doing a lot of dump offs to the tight ends. So it just seems like an ugly game to me here. And the Bears, the last 2 games, 14 points the first game of the season. And last week they scored 20 points, but they did get a pick 6 in that game. So the offense really only scored 13 points. So I think this is a very great underplay here. Give me the under, 46.5.
Yeah. So I'm right there with you. I like the under as well. I'm not completely sold on the Browns, as you know. I've talked about them before with you in the past. I think the Browns got lucky with a lot of their actual, scheduling last year that got them to the playoffs. The defense is supposed to be pretty good, so I like that under as well. A stat that I saw is the Browns are 1-5 against the spread in their last 6 home games. We remember they played the Texans. They didn't cover that game, and that was the Texans. And they had a backup quarterback come in there, and the Texans actually had a shot of winning that game. So I'm not really big on the Browns like I have been all year because I think they're kind of a paperweight champion for the most part. But I think if you're getting over a touchdown with the Bears, I think Justin Fields is probably going to play. I mean, Andy Dalton's banged up. You might get Fields to get a nice – it's kind of like when we were watching Cam Newton back in the day when he was a rookie. He would get those backdoor covers left and right with his legs and just trying hard at the end of the game. And I think Fields is more than capable of getting a backdoor cover, and the Browns can't really blow anybody out. So I'm kind of bullish on the Bears. I'm not going to lie. If I can get over it, I'm all over it. But the under, I think, is the right play.
Fields did not look good last week, though. So don't insult Cam Newton like that. All right.
I can insult him a little bit. He kind of stinks now, but he had that one good year.
All those preseason people going nuts because he threw that touchdown pass, going 6 for 13. I saw he had a fumble. He threw an interception. He had some ugly looking plays. And I've been seeing Rex Ryan was bashing the Browns defense. So I think these guys saw that these past couple of weeks, the Browns have improved their defense and they looked bad these past couple of weeks. I just feel like this is a great spot to take advantage of this rookie quarterback, and they start getting some turnovers. And I just feel like it could be something crazy is going to happen. It could just be low scoring the whole game and somebody wins 17-7, something really ugly like that.
All right, my buddy Mitch is checking in. Nice. He wants to know a real question over here. What's your guys' absolute favorite bet for the week for the NFL?
Mitch, come on, I'm not allowed to do that.
Yeah. I mean, but maybe you give him one of your plays. Give him one of your plays, maybe, because I mean he's a great listener. He's a great guy. Give him one play that you do like. Yeah,
it is still early in the week for me to go huge because we have been talking about some games and
we got a lot of research to do. But
the problem is last week or this past week, there's just been so many injuries going on. Like you said, you like the Colts, and then we jumped off of it.
We had to.
We haven't gotten into the game with the Dolphins yet, but I was actually going to go big on the Dolphins again this week, but. With the backup, I got to make sure Tua is playing, so that's something where I got to wait for. So I'll throw a little teaser out there. If Tua does play, that's probably going to be one of my big ones. But I'll get into that. Stay tuned, Mitch. I'll get into that game coming up soon.
All right, Mitch. I'll give you a play. I'll give you a play out here for the people because
Russ your balls to me. There you go.
Russ is dodging a little bit here, but that's okay. That's fine. That's all right. I get it. No problem. So I got the play here. All right. So I'm looking right here. The line's actually dropping, but I'll tell you what, they might have a shot. Maybe give me the Washington football team.
I was going to say, that was the play.
They're at 7.5 right now. They were high as 9, give or take, but I think they're still going to get a lot of love from the betting public.
I grabbed that.
I would wait. I would wait with the Washington football team because it's currently at 7.5. I don't think it goes any lower than 7. If it goes lower than 7, I would just take the Washington money line at that point because maybe there's something really going on we don't know about. But the Washington football team, that's the team I'm looking at right now. I think it's going to go up. I think you're going to get more value with the points. As long as you're getting like 8 points or so, I think it's going to be a defensive game. That's the team I'm looking at, Mitch. That's where we're going. The Washington football team. This is a rarity. This is this week. I'm probably not going to play him the rest of the year, but this is the play I like. All right, so let's get to the rest of the games in general over here. So we went over to the Bears-Browns, which I think is a pretty interesting game, honestly. The Saints at the Patriots. So the line has officially dropped down to 2.5, and the over-under is at 42.5, Russ.
Yeah, this is a game. I wish these guys were -3. I mean, people love taking what looks as value, but I'm not that type of guy. I feel like it's a little fishy to me that Patriots are only -2.5 since I was just going to talk about how the Saints just have a ton of injuries. Marcus Davenport, he's out. Quan Alexander, the linebacker, he's out. Marcus Lattimore, he had the surgery, minor thumb surgery last week. He might be back, but he's their best corner. You need him 100%. Winston, he still hasn't passed for over 200 yards. I just don't know how you can take the Saints in this game. I mean, I feel like this is Patriots play or no play at all. So I like the Patriots here.
Yeah, so I'm on the Patriots with you. The over-under is at 42.5. I think that's too low. I think there's going to be some points plenty scored right there. I think you're getting a little overreaction from the Saints not doing anything for the most part. It was kind of a weird game with that Green Bay game with the Saints where he threw for 150 yards and threw for like 1,000 TDs, Jameis Winston. So it's kind of like 41.5 is way too low for this game. I cannot never take this game. The Saints could get a good game plan to get some sort of points here. So give me the Patriots minus the 2.5. I'm not going to overthink it like you. I'm in the same boat with you, but give me that over 41.5.
Yeah,
the over 41.5 is pretty solid.
Belichick always takes away the best weapon. So if he shuts down Kamara, I just feel like Winston might have more pressure on him to just throw interceptions again. The wide receivers are just below average. No one's solid at wide receiver for that team. So that's probably why the number is so low here for the over-under.
Yeah. So the next game we're going to is the Falcons at the Giants. We have let me look at the official line. -3 Giants. The over-under is at 47.5, Russ. Where are we going?
Yeah, I'm taking the Giants here. I was actually back and forth. I was thinking Falcons earlier in the week, but until I just can't trust the Falcons. Until they do something, then I'll trust them again, but I just can't touch them. But Daniel Jones, he's actually been playing well these past couple weeks, and they're against good defenses. You're playing the Broncos and Washington, so now you're facing the Falcons, who might be one of the worst defenses he'll face all season. So I see him playing well. And Saquon, I think I saw he was 84% of the snaps last week. I just feel like this is going to be that hidden gem week where he's just going to get some carries and get a couple touchdowns actually in this game. So I think the Giants are going to score points easily. I can see them putting up 27 here, which they usually struggle to score points. I mean, I was surprised last week how much they put up. Well, they did get a pick six right in that game too. So I like the Giants here, 27-20.
Okay.
If anyone is taking the Falcons, I would parlay it Falcons and the over, because I know the Giants are going to get their points, but it all depends how the Falcons play. If the Falcons could make this 27-26 and be an over type of game. So if you like the Falcons, take the over. If you like the Giants, I would take the under in this one.
Russ, are you reading my notes here?
Yeah, I'm talking too much. That's why I think
Yeah, you're really breaking down this game beautifully, and I love it absolutely. I'm on the Falcons +3. I'm kind of weary about it because, like you said, they have a lot to prove. I think Kyle Pitts does have that big game. I think he's going to really go off this game. I actually love the over 47.5 here. I think there's definitely going to be points made, and I think it's going to be beneficial to the Falcons to cover that game. The road team is 9-3 against the spread in their last 12 meetings. I mean, that's kind of like a big spectrum, but Matty Ice has played for a very long time. So he has seen the Giants multiple upon multiple times. So he has been around the league forever. So he's had some really good success covering against this Giants team on the road. So give me the Falcons +3, but I really honestly do love the over 47.5. I think points will be scored. I think the Falcons defense stinks. But I think Kyle Pitts is going to get his as well. I absolutely love this over.
Yeah, that's why I think I might actually switch this, because I think I might have put this pick in a couple days ago on my notes. But I think, I'm feeling good on this over more, because I think
this over is money, Russ. We're gonna cash in on this, and the fine people that are watching this right now on Tackle Board are listening right now, and this will probably be a play of mine. But you're getting it for free right here. We're talking about right now. How beautiful is that?
Yeah, exactly. That's why I knew both of these 2.5s looked fishy. The Patriots going to 2.5, but there's always that one game. They put those two same lines up, and one of those dogs are going to hit out of those games. So I think it might be the Falcons here with a high-scoring game. Yeah,
exactly, and that's a good point. We talked about that. We've talked about this a bunch of times. We always talked about the same lines for different games at the same time slot. Typically, they don't both hit, whether it's the dog or the favorite. So we're both bullish on the Patriots here. And then, I mean, like, I like the Falcons, but that's not necessarily a lock, but I love the over. But if it's going to be an over game, I think the Falcons are going to cover the game. So I really like that as well. So the next game we're going to get into is the Dolphins at the Raiders. Raiders are at -3.5, and the over/under is 45.
I like the Dolphins here. I mean, I don't know who the quarterback is, but this is one of these situations where I kind of just tell everyone, this is a little tidbit I love to do here. So you got a Raiders team. They just had 2 wins. They beat the Ravens, they had a bunch of injuries in week 1. So that's why Vegas put up so much points in that game. And that was such a big game, first game on Monday Night Football. Second week, they played the Steelers last week. The Steelers had a great spot there, and somehow the Raiders didn't even play well. It was just an ugly game where the Raiders ended up hitting a deep pass to Ruggs late in the game that sealed the victory for that game. So the Dolphins have a great secondary. So the Raiders, that's basically their weakness. So they're not going to be able to take advantage of the Dolphins in this spot here. So I just feel like the Dolphins match up perfectly. But like I was saying, I forgot to say, so the Raiders, they won those first 2 games. I look at the power rankings, like on ESPN, they jump, like I have the Raiders down at like 15 to 20. That's where I'm keeping them for the season. I know how good this team is. So now you see that their stock, the market's taking them. They got them all the way up. Some people have them in their power ratings at 10. Some have them at 11. These guys are just, their market, everyone's on the Raiders right now, which is not a smart thing. And some people, I've been seeing other people talking about, Raiders, well, they're only 3.5 -4. Why are they so low? If these guys played week 1, we wouldn't be saying that. But since you saw them beat a couple teams, now you're going to get all crazy just because they won some games. No matter what, I like the Dolphins here in this spot. They're getting points, and I honestly think the Dolphins are a better team than the Raiders, the Raiders don't even have a running game right now. So give me the Dolphins here.
Yeah, Jacobs is banged up. He's questionable. So that's also something you have to consider as well. The side, I'm kind of iffy about left and right, but I like the fact you're taking a team that is as low as possible, stock as possible, and then a team that is so high right now that the public's just going to gravitate to. And now that Tua's out, well, we got to see what the real Tua situation is for the most part, but I actually like the under in this game. I think the under is going to be real solid here. I think it's going to be a grinded out kind of game, and I think that works it out better for the Dolphins here. So I'm all about the under here. So I get where you're going with the Dolphins, but the game, I'm not touching the spread for the most part because I don't know if I can trust the Dolphins too much either. So
I'm just noticing that these guys actually played last season. Just looking it up now. Tua actually did pretty well. He was 17 for 22, had a touchdown, played pretty conservative, but hit a high percentage. So that game actually went over. There was 51 points in that game. So the over-under is a lot lower. So it definitely looks good for your under type of game there.
Yeah, I think it's going to be an ugly game. I think the under 45 or whatever it is right now, I'm all over that. So I have no problem with that. Now a game, I'm seeing some line movement right now. The New York Football Jets at the Broncos. It is down to 10 right now. And the over-under is at 42, Russ. Where are we going?
I still like the Broncos here. I've been on the Broncos all season because I remember I talked about Coach of the Year because I knew these guys were just going to take advantage of this easy schedule. Look at them. They're in week 3 now, and they're favored by 11, 10 points.
That's
insane.
Sorry,
exactly. So he's Vic Fangio still sitting at, he's still sitting at 25 to 1. It's freaking nuts. These guys have one of the easiest schedules. All their road games that they're playing cupcakes like the Jets. So this is a game very low over under. You just can't trust Zach Wilson here. And I was actually pissed I didn't take Zach Wilson. I knew he was going to have the most interceptions this year. He's like Phillip Rivers. He's cocky. He's just throwing the ball wherever. Exactly. So I see an ugly game. I think the Broncos are just going to play better defense. 24-10 type of game. And that line probably dropped because they just announced that Chubb got hurt. But Chubb is always hurt. I never see this guy ever play. So it's not a big difference. The Broncos played good defense when they were hurt last year. They're still going to play good defense here. So I still like the Broncos.
So I think you might have talked me into something. So when I see a low over under and a high spread, I think of one game in my head. I don't know how many years ago it was. Maybe it's like 4 or 5 years ago. I'm going back into the cellar over here. But the Eagles played the Browns at home, and the over-under was like 40, and the spread was like 14. And like the Browns just did not – they covered the game, and the game went under. I think this is a complete under game.
Mhm.
And now that you brought that up as well, I'm starting to think Denver will cover this game, but I really do like the under here. So I'm rolling with that.
No, I see it. Under's definitely a smart play there.
So the next game I am looking at here is the Bucs at the Rams. The Rams are +1. Oh, actually, they went up. Sorry, +1.5, and the over/under is 55. Where are we at, Russ?
I actually like the Rams here. I feel like they have the early season excitement going on right now with the pickup of Stafford. Everything's just clicking on all cylinders for them. Brady, everyone's kind of just seen he's been putting up huge numbers, but he has been playing. He's played the Falcons and he played the Cowboys, so very weak defenses. So he's finally now going to be. I love when put up a ton of points, and now he's going to be facing a top 10 defense. And I got one more thing for you. The Bucs are actually playing at the Patriots next week. Ooh. So you better believe, Brady's got that game circle. Yep. So if you're going to be sleeping on this game and you're playing a top 10 defense, you're eyeing up the Patriots next week. I'm liking the Rams all day. 28-21 Rams.
All right. Well, I don't like the side personally. I love the under 55.5. I think this is going to be a harder fought game than people think. Like you said, the public perception is that the Bucs score a lot of points. And you know what, they have been, but like you said, the Falcons, the Cowboys, these secondaries aren't that good. And Tom Brady's just been doing whatever he wants. Now he's facing a good defense. I'm all over that under 55.5, so that's where I'm going.
Nice. Yeah. And when we were talking to Anthony earlier, I saw a report actually that Antonio Brown is placed on the COVID-19 list. So his status is iffy this week.
Might have to jump on that under sooner than later. I think it might be dropping like a bad habit.
That's true. Yep. That's true. We both agree on that. I said 28-21, and then I looked. I'm like, wow, it's in the 50s. So
yeah, it's 55. I love the under in that play because I think it's going to be. I think the defense for the Rams is going to show up a lot more than people think, and I think Tampa Bay's defense is going to show as well. I think there's going to be conflicts on both defensive sides, and I think that's going to be very important to look out for. But the next game, we have the Seahawks at the Vikings. Vikings are now officially a 1.5-point dog. The over/under is 55.5 for us. Where are we going?
All right, so I told everyone last week there was going to be 1 or 2 games a week that are just like they literally just hit on the spread. No matter what I do, I ain't going to hit a winner for you. So that was the Bengals-Bears last week. What happened? It hit exactly on the 3 points, the game that I said do not touch. So this seems like that type of game. It's just going to be crazy. You got the Vikings, they're 0-2 right now, so they need to win badly in this game. And then I can't go against Russell Wilson in this spot coming down to the wire, and he just had that bad loss last week. They blew the game to the Titans. It's just this is a spot where I just do not want to touch, and the over-under just seems so high that I think it's going to be a high-scoring game, but the over-under is so high that I just don't even trust taking the over. So it's just everything about this game stinks. I don't want it, so I'll let you pick this one.
All right, sure. I'll pick it. I learned my lesson the first time with the Colts and the Seahawks. I'm not going to take Russ Wilson. I'm going to take Russ Wilson with the small favorite. Like you, I'm not crazy about this game, but if I had to take something for this game, I'm going to take the Seahawks. It's hard to see the Vikings go 0-3, but give me Russ Wilson being a small favorite on the road. He's a better quarterback. He's a guy that can win. So give me the Seahawks. And Russ, I'm going to let you break down this game as I got to go check up on something right now. Green Bay at 49ers, Russ. What are we doing here? The line is -3 49ers. The over-under is 50.5.
No problem. I'll just talk to the people while you're gone. I like the Packers here. We got the 49ers. Key injuries on defense with Greenlaw's been out. He's out till October. And then you got cornerback Jason Verrett. He's going to be out for the season. That's a key cornerback right there. They now have Josh Norman. He's playing at cornerback, and he's been getting exposed with some penalties last week versus an average Eagles offense where he was getting exposed. Now he's going up against Aaron Rodgers. You better believe that he's going to get exposed here this week with Rodgers. So definitely going to take the +3.5 here all day with the Green Bay Packers, who look good. But definitely give me the Packers in that one. And for the over-under for this game, I would say this game probably goes over as well. Rodgers looked good. He was getting going. He actually missed a couple throws last week. So I can see them getting the high 20s. And San Fran actually didn't put up points last week as well against the Eagles. So I can see both of these teams getting in the high 20s. So I can see something like 28-24 type of game. I actually like the Packers here. I think they could win this game outright. So give me the Packers 28-24 here. And whenever Chris is done from his bathroom break,
I'm right here.
Oh, there he is.
What are you doing? You haven't looking at the screen?
I can't look at a blank screen. I got to exit out because I'll feel like I'm talking to myself, man. I'll lose my mind.
I heard all the breakdown. As a family man like yourself, we got to take care of certain things. So that's where I'm at right here. So I had to take care of some stuff. But, hey, I heard everything. So I'm with you right there. The Packers plus 3.5. I'm all over the over. I think the over is definitely good. We saw the 49ers last week in a low-scoring game. That's the public perception right now. The defense is on lockdown, this and that. This looks too easy to hit this under. The over is 4-0 in Packers games as an underdog. So we know Aaron Rodgers is fighting in all these underdog games. There's a lot of points to be made. I love the over 49.5. I'm right there with you, Russ.
No. Hopefully he's motivated for this. I heard he's got that man bun because he's getting ready for Halloween or something.
Oh, man. Come on, man. Yeah, I know. But I think he will be. This. You know what the funny thing about motivation is, though? I really feel like as far as he's from that area, San Francisco was a team that he's always been rumored that he wants to play for, a team that looked over him, that he really wanted to play for. He played for Cal, all those things. So I think he comes out for this game. He's had some bad luck against this team, and he knows that. He knows all these stats. He's been around for a long time. He's not dumb. Like, he doesn't know what has happened with the 49ers, and he only has so many years left. I think he's going to put on a great performance.
He was kicking. I was telling you, he was kicking himself last week. He missed a couple throws where they could have put up a lot more points. So he's going to get back on his game.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm with you. I love the over 49.5, but I could sprinkle some of that Packers spread as well. And finally, Monday night, our game, the hometown game for us, Eagles at Cowboys. The Cowboys are officially laying. Oh, it just dropped a little bit. It's at 3.5 now. The over-under is at 51.5 for us. Where are we going?
I like the Eagles here. This is a type of game where if the Cowboys were the dog, I would take the Cowboys, but I'm getting points here with the Eagles. I'm going to take it all day. Just two good quarterbacks that I think will go back and forth in this game. That both teams should be getting points. Shouldn't be an issue. And the Eagles were the one that were embarrassed their last meeting to the Cowboys. I think they lost 17-37 last year. So they'll remember that. This is a division game. So I'll take the points. I actually see the Eagles losing in a close one. So probably like 30-27 type of game. High scoring, should be a fun game to watch. But I think the Eagles might just lose by a game-winning field goal.
Yeah, so my favorite play for this game is the over, and I think it's a lot of public money coming in on that under because of the disappointing game they had last week against the 49ers. Now it's coming down to 51.5. I'll let it keep ticking down a little bit more. I'm definitely going to hammer that over when right before kickoff it keeps dropping like this. And I'm with you. I like the Birds to cover here. It was at 4. Now it's dropping to 3.5. I actually think they're kind of a live dog here. Nick Sirianni, he's been talking about the rivalry stuff, and I think a lot of guys are buying into what he's saying at this point in time right now, and he's emphasizing the whole rivalry thing. And I don't know if McCarthy's really doing that kind of thing. I think this might just be more of a game for him for the most part. I think there's going to be a little bit more extra motivation. It sucks that Brandon Graham's out. Brooks is also banged up as well. So those are some key losses on the line, offensive and defensive. But I like the Birds here with the points, but honestly, I love the over even more. So give me that over.
Yeah, with Brooks being out, I just feel like the team was terrible last year because of the offensive line, but that Wentz he was stuck in that pocket. He couldn't get out of there, and he was holding on to the ball so long. Hurts is someone where he can get out, and I don't think they're going to be able to stop him. So I think he'll get – since they didn't even score last week, I feel like they're going to get their points this week. Like you said, you like the over too. So.
Yeah, no doubt. And then Lawrence is going to be out as well. That's one of their best pass rushers right there. Micah Parsons just getting into the league. We know he's going to be a stud eventually, but I think Jalen Hurts is going to get his, and it's going to be a lot of points. And I think it's going to be an awesome Monday night game to watch, a big shootout. Pretty much what we didn't see last week with either team. Look at the Cowboys. They were in a low-scoring game against the Chargers. We all thought that was going to be a high-scoring game.
Yeah.
Now you're getting not only the Cowboys not score that much, and now the Eagles didn't score that much. This over-under's high. It's getting bet down a lot. I love this over even more. I will take more points being brought down so I can take that over.
Yeah, and just so everyone knows, I'm an unders and underdog kind of guy. So it seems like all the favorite type of games I've been giving out here have been losing, but all the dogs have been hitting big. So definitely pay attention to the underdog games I'm giving out.
Yeah, absolutely. No doubt. Hey, now we're done with the NFL. We did a great breakdown and all that stuff. Let's get into the college game. Let's get into a couple games that are going to be the big marquee games. I know everyone's going to be betting. Russ, we got Notre Dame and Wisconsin.
Yeah. Last week ended up splitting on those games, those big games. I ended up hitting, I lost on the Alabama game. I forget what the game I won was, the other big game. Oh, Penn State pulled away at the end, covered that spread. So big game this week. We got the Wisconsin game. I like Wisconsin. I was saying before in the season they're improved. They just didn't cover against that Penn State game. They just played terrible. They had a bunch of turnovers in the red zone. But this is actually just a terrible spot for Notre Dame. Wisconsin, they've got one of the best defenses in the country, and they're actually coming off of a bye here. So even though Wisconsin's also favored in this game on paper, they're going to see that they're actually the 18th ranked team, and Notre Dame's ranked 12th. So Notre Dame's ranked better. So Wisconsin's going to have that mindset like, hey, we're the underdogs here, and they're home. This total's really low. They think the odds makers think Notre Dame's going to score 20 points. So I think they'll actually score lower in this game. So I see Wisconsin winning this game, probably something like 27-17 type of game here.
So what was the final score you're saying?
I think 27-17.
27-17. So you think the game's going to go under?
Yeah, I think they actually win this game pretty easily.
Okay. So there's a couple things I got with this game that I've been looking at. So with Notre Dame, Jack Cohen, he's been playing pretty solid this year, 828 yards passing with 8 TDs, former Wisconsin player. So he's finally facing his former team here. The run game's been okay with Williams. Isaiah Foskey, he's been solid with the D-line with 3.5 sacks. Wisconsin, you talked about the bye. I think that's very important to look at. The over is 6-1 for Badger games following a bye week. 60% is betting the under right now. There's a lot of public perception with this under. I understand Mertz has not been good offensively for the quarterback position. He has not been good at all. And then the Eastern Michigan game, they threw in the backup. They almost didn't cover because the backup came in. But they ran the ball 1,000 times that game. Like literally every play was a run play. And they just ran it down their throat the entire time. Wisconsin's defense has been pretty solid, but I think it's important to look at Wisconsin off the bye. I feel like they can get this situation with the quarterback fixed a little bit more than we can actually think here. I actually like the over 46.5. I'm actually kind of shocked that the line's this high. I thought we would have been like the 42s, 43s. I think it's more of you should probably focus on Wisconsin's point total probably in this game, because I think if they hit that, they're probably going to average like 30 points this year. In the first 2 games, they didn't really. What did they got? They had the 34 last week, but that was against Eastern Michigan. They should be scoring a lot more points. They just gave up in that game and didn't put it on them. But that 10 points against Penn State, they're only averaging 22 right now. So you got to think big game for Wisconsin. They're probably going to have a nice little game plan here. So they should be able to put up some easy points here. Yeah, I think that's a great point. I think the over on the Wisconsin points, I like myself, I think they're going to fix a lot of issues with the quarterback. The run game will be solid. As we know, typical Wisconsin style. I think that's going to be really good. So I really like that as well. The next big marquee game I want to get into is Texas A&M, Arkansas. It's in the Jerry Dome. It's a 5.5 point spread. The over-under is at 47.5. Both teams are 3-0. I'm pretty much going to get into it right here. I'm huge on Arkansas this week, getting the 5.5. Texas A&M, they've been doing very well. They've been facing some teams that haven't been that great. Back-to-back, straight up against the spread wins. Texas A&M is 0-10 when they're back-to-back, straight up against the spread wins. They're kind of sniffing themselves at this point. Arkansas has been playing really well. They've been clicking on both sides of the ball. The offense with KJ Jefferson has benefited with a great wide receiver core that's been going on. Treylon Burks with 206 yards. The Razorbacks have 5 players averaging at least 10 yards a catch. The run game is averaging 6 yards a carry. The offense is completely clicking. Texas A&M, they played one big team this year. It was Colorado. They barely squeaked that game out. Calzada at quarterback has been mediocre. 458 yards, passing 4 TDs, 2 picks. The run game has been a big part with Spiller, averaging over 6 yards a carry. But the biggest thing is DeMarvin Leal. He's been the anchor on this defense. 13 tackles, 2.5 sacks. He's the guy that gets the engine churning for the most part for the defense. But this is the lowest spread I've seen in a long time for Arkansas. And this is probably the best Arkansas team that I've seen in a very, very long time. They haven't been a single-digit dog in a long time. And this is kind of situations I told about last week with the revenge tour I talk about. This is a big revenge tour. They haven't won or covered in forever. And this is their best chance to do this against Texas A&M. There's tons of revenge on this side. Give me the Razorbacks plus 5.5, Russ.
Yeah, this game was tough to me, but I would definitely side with you on Arkansas. I was looking at Texas A&M's games, and for them to play that bad against Colorado is a team that I'm down on this year, who I was actually took Minnesota last week. So Colorado I'm down on. I'm down on New Mexico this year, and I just feel like Texas A&M just squeaked out that 30-0 against New Mexico. It was a bad team, and they looked terrible. I was watching a little bit of that game against Colorado, and Colorado isn't a good team. So Arkansas is just the hot team to take right now, and that seems like a smart play with Arkansas, who's getting points at home. They're definitely going to, you said,
a live dog.
Yeah, and it's going against a top 10 team, so you know they're going to want to storm that field in that game.
Oh, absolutely. They're a live dog by any means necessary. And my boy Mitch is checking in. Can Rutgers cover the 20.5?
Oh, Rutgers. Oh, well, it sucks. We're in New Jersey. We can't bet it.
Yeah, I know. I've talked to Mitch about this before. I told him Rutgers has been kind of the team with Schiano that's been playing really well and playing.
Oh, nice. Michigan. Nice. Yeah, that's actually a nice little spread. I like that 20.5. That does look like an underdog play right there with Rutgers.
Absolutely. I'm on the same board with you there. We're riding the Rutgers Scarlet train once again.
Just letting Mitch know Michigan's got Wisconsin next week. So, again, look ahead game right there. Big game next week for Michigan. So, could be a little lackadaisical in this Rutgers game.
And might I add that the Michigan Wolverines, they played against Western Michigan. They smashed them. That was first game of the year. And then Washington has been terrible. They lost to Montana outright, I believe. They housed that game. That was kind of like a paperweight kind of, like a primetime game that really wasn't a real primetime game. And they made it seem like that. And then they played NIU, who's terrible, and they beat them by 53. So
I love when teams win against the spread 3 straight like that. So now this line's probably imploded too. You got to be thinking.
Yeah, it's imploded. I wish I could bet this in Jersey, but unfortunately I cannot, Mitch. If I were you, I would take the Fighting Scarlet Knights with the 20.5. I think that line eventually goes down. I don't think it goes up. I don't think there's enough public money to bring that line up, honestly. So I would roll with the Scarlet Knights, one of my alma maters, Rutgers.
Nice.
So I wanted to get into one more revenge game.
Oh, yeah, you had one more game. That's right. The
I got a revenge
State,
game.
right?
Yeah, I got a little Maction going on, Russ.
Nice.
The
People
Mac
love action. That's why Mitch is still here. He wants to see that Maction.
Oh, absolutely. Everyone wants to see Maction. I will tell you firsthand, the Mac is fucking terrible right now. It's not even a question how bad they truly are. Western Michigan is supposed to be one of the best MAC teams, got boat raced by Michigan, and I still feel like they're kind of a paper champion over there. And I keep saying this left and right because this is a public perception we get some of these teams that beat up on these teams. Like, they might not be as good as advertised. And Schiano's a good coach, and 20.5 is way too many points there. But I want to get into this MAC game right now. Toledo Rockets at Ball State. Ball State's getting 5 points. The over-under is 56.5. Toledo, they lost to Colorado State 6-22. Once again, coming out of the MAC, losing. Shocker. Ball State going to the Mountain West as well, losing 12-45. I talked about how bad the MAC is, but this line here is imploded for this game. I'm not going to lie. Carter Bradley, the QB of Toledo, has been real solid. 658 passing yards, 2 TDs, no picks. The wide receivers, led by Devin Maddox, who's averaging 18 yards a catch, has been solid for this MAC team. Ball State should not be able to throw on Toledo. Toledo's pass defense is real solid. You wouldn't know this because of the record being 1-2, but their pass defense is pretty strong here. But Ball State, the quarterback situation is absolutely terrible. Drew Pitt has been terrible. Carson Steele is pretty much the best player at running back. He's averaging 6.4 yards a carry. Toledo gives up a lot of sacks and a lot of penalties. That's a team that doesn't cover. If you're doing that much in the MAC, you're in for a world of pain. 11 penalties. The Ball State pretty much averages a game.
Sounds like a bad team, yeah.
It's a bad. Not only is the MAC bad, but this is a bad MAC team. And when I look at what here, I'm going to bring it up real quick. Let me just bring it up. I want to tell you what the lines have been with.
Yeah, I think Toledo's on my list on teams that one of the teams that should be better this year. But I started making myself rules after the years, and I put no MAC and no whack at the top of my screen.
This is MAC first MAC.
Helps me be selective. I'm like, no MAC, no whack. And then sometimes I'll just throw it out there. Why the hell did I take a MAC game?
But this is MAC versus MAC, so I'm okay with that.
You're better at the smaller games than me now.
I am, because I love my ESPN gate games where I know the guys watching with the camcorder over on the top of the bleachers. No problem. These are my wheelhouse games for the most part. So when I look at these spreads in general, last year, Toledo was a 10-point dog, winning outright. Ball State was a dog, 10.5. They won outright. Ball State minus 3.5. Smashed Toledo. The last 3 times Toledo was a favorite, they were a 19.5-point favorite. They absolutely smashed. 26.5-point favorite, absolutely smashed. And 5.5-point favorite, they covered as well.
I didn't realize you were looking it up. I actually had it right in front of me. I didn't know that's what you're. I was like, I could have got that for you.
No, you could have. And I wish I would have known that. I think I was taking just a solo ship here. But anyway, so Toledo has been really well when they were favored in these games. They're favored by 5 on the road now, losing in a double revenge here, especially as them being Ball State being a dog and being a favorite. Ball State has had the best of them. This Ball State team fucking sucks. And Toledo should be able to take advantage of it with their offense and their pass defense as well. Give me the Toledo Rockets, lane 5. This is probably going to be a double-digit victory. So get your Maction in. This is it, Russ.
Nice. Yeah, I like that one. That looks nice.
So that'll do it for us today, guys. We went a little overtime, but great info as far as the NFL games, the college. We've been on absolute fire. Join the Discord, all those good stuff. So you can DM us as well at Chris Ebom on Twitter. I will have 2 cover articles coming up this week. And Russ, you can hit him up on Vegas Line Reader. He'll have some plays as well. Russ, where are we going today?
I feel good again. We've won 2 straight weeks, and we're in week 3, and I think we're going to kick some ass again. If you guys can help us out, if you're watching this, download the Sharp app. Check us out on there. We're also on YouTube. If you guys can, just subscribe to our channel. If you like our picks, keep following us because we're going to keep making money, guys. And if you're watching this on Twitter or anything, why don't you guys just shoot us a like or retweet, anything like that. It helps us out because we want to get these picks out to more people so everyone can make money.
That's all right, Russ. Let's go make that money. Let's go tackle that board.
That's right. Let's go. Another winning week.